Hi guys, here's my reference photo. Nice forest path. My favorite brush pen, Pentel color brush. It is the water resistant one. And so here's what a fresh one looks like. It's got that little stopper thing. Here is the bristles before you get any of the ink in it. All that ink is in that barrel. And here's a refill where you just pull out that old one. Here's pop the refill barrel right in, and you're ready to go. It's the perfect pen for me. Got my coffee. I just want to paint today. You want to paint with me? You don't have to paint with me. It's okay for you to just watch, but I just have such a good time painting. And, maybe somebody else will want to paint with me too. So, now I have to give a disclaimer today. I had to cut this film up pretty badly. It's pretty choppy today, specifically because I was having a lot of hand pain. And y'all don't need to see me readjusting the brush in my hand 8,000 million times. Nobody needs to see that. So I cut most of that out, and that's why the film looks a little choppy. So it's for your viewing pleasure. I made this as smooth as I could. And I know that I am not the only artist who gets hand pain from things. As my day job, I'm on the computer most of the day. And then, at night in my free time, I'll get out a brush or pencil or maybe edit videos or, do digital art. And, it's more stress on the hands. So they hurt sometimes. It is what it is. It's just kind of one of the injuries of the calling, I guess. And that's okay. I can live with it. Because, I could still make some pretty cool stuff, and I still enjoy it. But what I really wanted to do today was spend some time back in this forest path that reference photos from a bit of time ago. And I kind of use these kind of little half-planar moments to revisit the space, revisit that time. It's not exactly like visiting an old friend, but it's also not too far away from it either. And I love spending time out in nature. And I love plein air painting. If you've seen any of my other videos, I'm sure I talk about it quite a bit just because it's pretty fresh on the mind pretty often, just as much as this coffee is. I got coffee around me all the time. Even when I'm out in nature painting, I usually got a thermos of coffee with me too. It's one of those requirements I just want with me all the time, just like this brush pen. It's one of those unexpected life requirements that I've got that just kind of snuck up on me as I got a little older. Who would have guessed that I needed these sorts of things when I was young? Never would have known. And the only way you find these kind of things is by trying stuff out. I'm gonna try something new out. Maybe you like this kind of art. Who knows? If you do, try one of these brush pens. You never know, you might like it. If you don't, that's okay too. But this was out in the Smokies, and there's a lot of different kind of trails you can do out in the Smokies. There are ones that are friendlier to the casual enthusiast, just like this one, because it wasn't exactly paved because these were big old rock slabs, but as close as you're gonna get in a big old national forest, But they're all kinds of really beautiful places. And the wonderful thing about nature, at least for me, is that every hillside, every little nook, every little spot has its own ecosystem, has its own place. And that has never gotten boring to me. Never. I hope it never does. Thank you, sassy editing Mel. can't win them all. For some reason, I have the hardest time keeping my head out of the frame. Someday I'll get better at it, but clearly it's not going so well on that front. But anyway, this day was a beautiful day. It was maybe in the low 70s, high 60s. There wasn't a breeze. It was blue skies. There was nobody else on the trail. It was just me and a whole bunch of green and rocks, of course, and trees and all sorts of just natural goodness. It was just a very delightful day, and I'm having a good time recounting it and spending a little more time there as I'm painting it. That's kind of part of the reason why I do these. It's a nice way to relive a moment just for a couple of hours. Story time though, no joke. Okay, so this was like day 4 or 5 of some heavy trail running, walking, I don't know what you call it, but a little more active than just casually walking on a trail. I'm not one of those people, I don't have the little stick that to slowly walk my way. No, I'm a little more active than that. But I've been burning some calories. So immediately after I had finished this trail and taken everything and went back to the hotel to take a shower and clean up and all that good stuff, I went immediately to a Golden Corral, sat down with a sketchbook, and proceeded to eat like 6 or 7 plates of food with my right hand while drawing with my left hand. No, wait, or opposite. See, sometimes I'm ambidextrous, okay? So I get a little mixed up which hands I use for what, but usually it's art with the right, food with the left, so that's probably what I did. But it's kind of like a party trick where you do both at the same time. And if you can put down food after a whole bunch of exercise, it's so much fun. Yeah, you have tables of people watching you, because I'm a thinnish person, but to put down 6 or 7 plates of food while using both hands for different purposes is kind of a fun thing to watch if you're a stranger. That's, if you see somebody in public doing that might be me. It's just kind of one of those things I like to do. Oh, party tricks like that are so much fun. We've gotten far enough along in this painting that you can see where I'm going. You see the rock path pretty clearly, and the brush and the big old tree to the right. All the little leaves and little bitty pieces of things. Ready for the next step? Because here it is. We're going to pick colors. These are Peerless Watercolors. Peerless Transparent Watercolors, I think that's what they're called. But they are so much fun. It's my big old swatch sheet because I bought all of them. Do you have to buy all of them? No, of course not. Nobody has to buy all of them. But I'm extra, so I had to buy all the colors. But this is how I keep them organized in this little coupon folder kind of thing. And kind of, all the greens together, all the blues together, all the reds together sort of thing. And so from that swatch sheet, I picked out the colors I wanted to do, and I'm looking through this thing trying to figure out where they all are, because I don't have them in any other order other than by basic color. So, I love these. They are so much fun. Now, this company has been around for decades. They've been around forever. I'm not sure how long. I'd have to look it up, and I'm too lazy at the moment. But it's a piece of paper. I mean, you can see this. It looks like pieces of paper. It's what it is. It's pigment that has been laying on these pieces of paper that you can just pull right off of it and put on a different piece of paper. Now, they're so transportable, so easy to use. I love these things so much. Do you have to get all of them like I did? No. Nobody needs to get all of them unless you really want them. I mean, you can do just fine with the basic colors, a red, a yellow, a blue, maybe a black or a brown. You can get away with just that and mixing, but I don't do that. I want them all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these watercolors on top of this line drawing, because that's just what I'm in the mood for. So you actually get the pigment off of what looks like the back of them. It's just, the first time I tried these, I didn't know that. It took me a minute to figure it out, but I'm really awful about looking at like tutorials and information and stuff. I just go into something without actually planning for stuff. That's just that's my MO. It is what I do. But I'm wetting down the paper. That's how I tend to start for a watercolor, where I want to just work on like a background first. Is what I'm going to do. So you wet that down pretty good. And if anybody knows, that was actually that was a makeup brush. Like makeup brushes I have, I repurpose them for paints. So pro tip, if any lovely people out there have extra makeup brushes that they don't know what else they're going to do with, try it with paint before you throw it out, okay? They might get a second life. Mine often do. But look how easy these are to use. Just a little bit of water on top of the paper, and they come right off. So easy to add. Oh, they're such a beautiful product. I just love them. And of course, it's going to take me a long time before I run out of them, which is, a good thing. They last quite a while. I'm actually very, very pleased with these, and I will recommend these to anybody who thinks this looks like a good time, because at least for me it was a good time, and it's going to continue to be a good time. These will last quite a while. And someday when I go on a vacation again, I'll take these with me just because of how easy they are. I have a very easy time imagining using them in in a restaurant or a coffee shop or in a hotel room, or I wouldn't say plein air, because I personally don't like doing watercolors plein air. It's just not my thing. But just being not in the studio, I think they're a very good thing for that. But they work clearly pretty good in studio too. Just versatile little pieces. I love them. So, well, look at me. I'm supposed to be talking about kind of tutorial about this kind of stuff. How often do I get it talking, and I just get off on tangents and things. But anyway, this is my first layer of watercolor, and when you do the first layer, it doesn't really matter so much where you put stuff, because watercolor dries lighter than how it looks when it's wet. So it's actually less scary than it seems when you're putting it down, because it will dry quite a bit lighter, which is something you like. Something you can like if you like working in layers, like I do. I just enjoy working in layers. Probably a holdover from just how much acrylic I've done over the years. I find it very good for the way I think to work in layers, and specifically with how dark my pieces tend to get, because of how much I enjoy just shadow work. Is that it's nice to work in layers so that you can get those shadow areas deeper and deeper and deeper until you reach the level that you need. And this is going to turn into a on-running joke. I see it now, but the word that I can never think of, editing, Melissa, please put it in the frame, please, for a very stark contrast between the darks and the lights. that I try to emulate in a very modern type of way. Because, I mean, clearly this is not a Caravaggio piece. This is a very modern looking watercolor. It is what it is. But I find that the contrast between the lights and the darks a very important part to set the mood. Look at that green. I mean, look. Are y'all seeing that green? Oh, it's just a beautiful watercolor. I'm getting off tangent again, aren't I? Of course I am. But that contrast is a very important part to create depth and movement in your pieces. It's an optical illusion in a way to add the depth, and you'd be so surprised how different a piece will look in between all the layers. If you've never painted, you might not notice these kind of little tidbits of art. And at the end of the day, this is what I want to do. I want to make art accessible to anybody who wants to know more about it, anybody who likes this kind of thing. Because art shouldn't be a scary thing. It shouldn't, at least for me, it's not a stuffy thing. You know, it's a daily thing. It's something that is a very daily aspect of my life. Here's the first layer has dried. See how it lightened up quite a bit afterwards. Isn't that kind of cool how it does that? So what I'm going to do next is a second layer. And usually for a second or third or fourth, however many layers it takes. See, look at that deep blue. That is Autumn's Indigo. And let me tell you, I'm going to have to get more of that color. It is my favorite color of all, how many did I buy? Like 80? All of the colors that I bought of these, this is my favorite simply because of, you're going to see how important this is for shadows. And clearly, I'm talking about contrast. Shadows are important to me. But this blue is one of the most beautiful deep blues I have ever seen. I love this color. And it's, if you're going to buy one color, buy this one. Okay. I'm gonna have to get back up at this. But I don't even remember where I was going. I was probably talking about different layers. But see, the second layer, you start adding more shape and value to things. So I'm making these rocks look a bit more 3D by adding very strategic shadows to them, so that they actually look like rocks instead of the 2D, at the end of the day, this is a piece of paper. It's all optical illusion, and it's so much fun. But that really is what I want to do, is make this accessible. So here's another different kind of a brush that I like to use. It's they have a couple different names. Sometimes they're called like flats. Sometimes they're called shaders, but this is an angled one. One of my favorite kind of brushes, because you can make a very distinct line with it, and also very sharp edges, which is good for this particular purpose. You can see me using some nice sharp lines, and it's kind of, so those little spots right there that is shadows from leaves that are above my head at this point. So, dappled light. Dappled light. If you spent time in a forest, you were surrounded by different shades and tones of lights. And it feels like time and space is moving almost disconnected from how you actually feel the world moving. That's kind of how I always feel when I'm in the middle of some dappled light under trees, or the leaves moving and little bits of light and shadow playing across the ground in front of you. That's kind of, it's a beautiful thing to be in. And the little shader brush is helping me try to turn that feeling into a little bit of art. And see, I'm not trying to make everything even and perfect, and the whole point is to make the dappledness, the change and the irregularities be part of the space. Because there's an awful lot of irregularity in nature. It's kind of part of the beauty. Oh, look at that blue for shadows. It's just so beautiful. I'm gonna have to get more of it. So good. I want my engineer folk to listen to me for a minute. Now you're gonna look at this, and if you like this and you want to try to do something like this, but you've got an engineer brain, you're gonna have to sit back and try for a while. Oh, see, look, blue all over. Sorry, back to where I was. You have to sit back and try for a while to get into the mindset of allowing irregularities. Now, a lot of the engineer folk have a hard time doing this. You're so set up to be as specific and as regulated and as regular as you can be. And that's kind of how you have trained your mind to work. Now it doesn't work so good if you're trying to do a landscape, because of all those irregularities and all the beautiful changes that are in nature. The imperfections are what is so beautiful about nature. So don't give up. You'll try, and for a while your art may not look like you want it to, and that's okay. You got a couple of options. You can keep trying, or you can try a different kind of art, because not everybody's good at the same kind of things, and that's okay. There's all kinds of different ways to express yourself, and you can try all kinds of different ones to figure out what kind works for you. I know on this channel, that was some dog hair, by the way. I have a very large dog, and his hair, he's fluffy, so his hair gets on everything. It is what it is. But on this channel, there's a pretty high likelihood of me touching most of the different kinds of art. I'm one of the kind of people who, it's not that I get bored easily, it's just that my brain loves new things. It loves figuring out new things. Like, if I need a intro graphic, okay, not a problem. I'll figure out how to animate something. I did that. Now, I'm not sure how many of y'all know about how fussy copyright restrictions can be with music, but, I need a little intro jingle. Oh, guess what? I'll write a little music. Not a problem. That's kind of how my brain works. I'm a very multidisciplinary kind of person. It is part of the delight for me. And I don't expect anybody else to be that way. It's just how I expect myself to be. Part of existence is forming guidelines for yourself and expectations for yourself, but allowing others to have different guidelines and different expectations. It's just kind of, it's how I kind of move through the world. I expect very different things from myself than from other people. I would never require somebody to do all of this unless they wanted to, and that's okay. But you better believe I expect it out of myself. I wanted to start a YouTube channel to make cool stuff. Heck yeah, I did. I wanted to share this stuff with people. I wanted a reason to learn more about this. I wanted a reason to illustrate stuff. I wanted a reason to learn how to animate. And get back into writing music and the whole bit. And try new art. And try new different kinds of paints and different brushes. And I want all of it. All of it. And I feel very grateful that anybody at all would ever want to watch any of these videos. It's amazing to me that just a random person like myself can produce and upload a video onto a international platform for anybody to watch. It's crazy to me. The insanity of being born before Google. I feel very old on this platform, and that's okay. You can call me your art auntie. I'm your little art auntie with curly hair. So please, by all means, join me in this fun little trip that we're having. Oh, man, look at this painting. I really like this one. I really do. Let's learn some stuff, okay? You gonna join me on my journey? We're gonna make some stuff. We're gonna learn some new skills. We are gonna do some cool stuff. So here she is, y'all. I hope you really like this one, at least as much as I do. It's a pretty good one. I'm feeling pretty happy about it. Zoom in, get a little close up. It's a real good feeling to have one that you really like every once in a while. Doesn't happen to be often, honest truth. But we're going to keep on growing over here. That's for sure. Thank y'all. Thank you very much for watching.